Hey everyone, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ari Williams and I am your personal development coach. So, for today's series, I'm going to talk about what has changed in my life since COVID. Now, for a lot of us, everything has changed from career paths, from things we're going to do with our children, to vacation changes, to delays, all kinds of things that happen all around the world, and that can leave anyone feeling devastated. But the first thing I want to talk about is how my decision to homeschool came about. So, at the beginning of 2020, I was graduating with my master's. I was so excited that I was going to finally be in the field working since I had earned my master's degree. But I felt the Holy Spirit leading me to homeschool, and I didn't want to homeschool. Like, that's not what I wanted. But I made the decision after going to church one Sunday, and they were talking about Naaman and how he felt like he was too good to dip himself in the Jordan River because it was a nasty river. It wasn't the cleanest river, and he was someone of high position. And so I thought of myself high position, and I thought that I was too educated to be a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling. So the Lord convicted my heart, and I made the decision to homeschool. Shortly thereafter is when COVID-19 hit. So whether I wanted to or not, I was going to end up being stuck in the house with my kids. However, God was so gracious enough to ask me and give me a choice before it became like a mandatory thing that I had to do consistently. So the first thing that was most difficult was reconciling the cultural differences. My husband does like small groups, and he helps like students at church. Like, they are high school students, and these kids are like affluent. So most of them are like homeschooled, or they go to a hybrid school where it's half and half. And for me, that just isn't my story. Like, I grew up a single parent household, so I went to public school, you know. So for me, homeschooling was a foreign concept, and I thought that's something that rich people do. Um, so I was very opposed to it. However, there are a lot of benefits of homeschooling that I am discovering as I go and as I change my perspective and attitude. So I just wanted to talk about that because it was definitely a culture shock for me and for our families. Because when I said I was going to homeschool, everyone was like, homeschool? What you mean you're going to homeschool? You know, black people don't do that, this, that, and the third. But of course, that is a very broad generalization. I'm sure there are plenty of black people who homeschool. However, I didn't grow up knowing any. So this has definitely been a journey of self-discovery and a bonding moment for me and my children. Okay, so the things that I've learned so far has been like being at home with them helps me to really get to know who they are as they're growing, and I have the opportunity to shape their perspectives as they're growing. A lot of times when you put your kid in a school or in other situations, which will happen eventually, in critical moments, someone is going to shape the way they look at things. So whether it be at school or somewhere else, that's going to happen anyway. So it has definitely been a privilege for me to be able to shape their perspectives about their personal self-efficacy, for example, their ability to do things. So if they are having a difficult time learning a math concept or any other concept, instead of me like just responding out of frustration, which I have done many times, God forgive me, I have learned, or I am learning, to use that as a learning opportunity for them to discover that they have the ability to overcome anything that they put their mind to. So whether we're talking about a difficult concept or being disciplined with eating their food within an allotted amount of time instead of taking 3 hours to eat a meal, like, I have the opportunity to shape who they will become, and that's something that I am starting to treasure. Okay. So that is the first thing that has drastically changed in my life since I have been in this whole COVID situation, as we all have been in COVID. I've also had extra time for introspection. So, I, all of us have trauma, right? And a lot of us drown ourselves in either work, relationships, fun, going out, substances, vacations. We do a lot of different things to try to cope with the stuff that's really going on underneath everything. Excuse me, I need some water. This is my water bottle. Yes, I drink this much water most of the time. I really try to. Isn't it cute though? I got it off Amazon. Um, so anyway, trauma. We all have underlying trauma and things that we don't necessarily deal with. Some people code it with sex or substance or a bunch of different things that are legal, like working too much, so that we can avoid what's really brewing underneath the surface. So, one of the things that I discovered in all of the silence of staying home has been that I had a root of abandonment. Like, yeah, I thought that the root was rejection. And yeah, there were other like branches coming off of that root that I have worked hard to overcome, but I was unaware that I wasn't really facing the root of the issue. So, growing up, I said I was in a single parent household. My father wasn't there. That's not a strange story or anything, but during that time, I sent my dad a package of pictures of me, and I've tried everything that I could to get him to respond and to interact with me and talk to me and be 100% invested in our relationship. And the package came back, returned to sender. When that package came back, I was devastated. I had to be like, what, about 7? So at that moment, I made a vow within myself that I would never invest more in a relationship with a man or anyone else than someone else is. And so it caused me to build up these walls where I wasn't letting anyone get close to me and I held everyone super far away. You know, I'd smile, hey, how are you? But I would never let anyone get close to me because of that devastation. And I thought, man, I must have a flaw that I can't see. Like, that's why people don't want to get close to me. Nah, Ari, they don't want to get close to you because you're not letting them. You're not letting anyone in. And a lot of times, you know, we don't realize, we don't see ourselves. We think that, you know, it's something wrong with us or it's something wrong with other people, you know, but sometimes it can be a combination of both. You know, everyone has trauma, and sometimes we trigger each other's trauma, and that causes more issues. But in this process, I've discovered that I want to move forward. You know, like this is a new era. We're in the 2020s, you know. So at this point in my life, after identifying the root of abandonment, I have decided that I have reconciled my past and I want to move forward in my future. And in moving forward in my future, I have come to the conclusion that, oh, someone's sending me a message. I have come, that was so like ghetto. But anyway, I have come to the conclusion that it is my purpose to help other people to move forward. Because a lot of times we're so stuck on the past that the current life is just passing us by. You know, you're so stuck on trying to. I'm talking about me. Like I was so stuck on trying to figure out what was wrong, what was the flaw that I couldn't see, that I wasn't acknowledging the relationships that were available around me, the people who were trying to reach out and love me, but I'm holding them 20 feet backwards. You know, so it's either we can stay where we are and let life pass us by, or we can move forward and really take life by the horns. We can move forward and fulfill our purpose. We can move forward and be the solution that God made us to be. And yes, I'm going to talk about God because I'm a Christian. So if you don't like that, then I was not called to help you. And that's okay. so, um, yeah. So I've come to the conclusion that I'm starting something called Bloom. And we're going to bloom on the blue couch. And the purpose of blooming is to move forward and to fulfill your purpose. So I'm so excited about that. I am a personal development coach. I have several packages and things to help you move forward as I have moved forward. And I am so excited to be working with you in the future. So feel free to hit my DMs and we can go from there. My name is Ari Williams, and I'm your personal development coach. Welcome to Bloom.